Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back in today. We are coming to you live here, 2 o'clock on this Monday afternoon, guys. And yeah, we're looking good. We're feeling good. So obviously we are not in studio. It is our Christmas break. We're bringing this edition right now. We said we were going to bring this edition to you guys. We don't know all about next week, but we will bring that those updates and all that good stuff to you guys when we have that all figured out. But yeah, not much for me more to say. Cole, say what's up to the people.
Good morning, or should I say good afternoon, everyone. Not feeling good. Not feeling great. Did get my lifeguard certification over this weekend. So, yep. I am a lifeguard now. So, yeah, but Eagles lost. I didn't get to watch the game, but obviously I rewatched it after. It just gave me a migraine, gave me agita, all the above. I mean, just no. And we'll get into it later. So
now, did the lifeguard thing actually take 10 hours?
It did.
Wow.
10:30 to 7:30 day one, and then I want to say 9:30 to about 8:30.
Jesus Christmas. So lifeguard Cole this summer. That's something. But you know me.
Still figuring out where I would go. So.
Okay, I got you. But you know me. Content creation, broadcast, journalism is what I will probably be doing over the summer. I'll update you guys. I obviously graduated KYW a couple of weeks ago, so that was that was fun to do. But yeah, I feel like everybody's getting sick. I don't know. I feel like everybody's like getting sick. I was sick like Tuesday and Wednesday. I wasn't feeling too good. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's getting sick. But nonetheless,
I'm going around.
Yeah, prep basketball. I feel like it's another update we have to bring up. A lot of things to talk about. Prep basketball. They looked all right in Vegas. I know they're back now. I will not be at the game this Friday or Monday. I'll be back on the 27th. I'll be back on January 3rd. I'll be there. I think Cole will be there doing pictures and all that. But yeah, I think that's really all we have to bring up here. And we can just get right into it. So, Cole, the Philadelphia Eagles looked good to start, had a 7-0 lead, and then the worst thing possible happened. Every Eagles fan's nightmares. Jalen Hurts got injured, got a concussion in the first quarter, brought in Kenny Pickett. It's been a debate on whether Kenny Pickett has looked good or bad, but we'll get your take on this. Cole, talk about this game.
Yeah. All right, I'll start with Jalen Hurts. Phenomenal first two drives. But yeah, I hate to see him go down. And like you said, Ryan, no one wants to see him go down. But like obviously last year with that leg injury that he had. But even the worst thing, it's a concussion, man. And head injuries, it's not like they go away. If you tear your ACL, it heals, you're back out again. Obviously, there's a little bit of concern with that and coming back from it. But if let's look at Tua, for example. Constantly you keep getting, hit in the head. It's going to do some damage, and it can affect your career majorly. So I'll just start with that. I really hope Jalen Hurts feels better. I don't want to rush him back at all. Obviously, we can't get the 1 seed anymore unless something crazy happens with Detroit or Minnesota. But yeah, at this point, I'd sit him until the playoffs. You could bring him back, but I mean, there's really no point in doing it. I'll move on. Saquon Barkley, incredible job. He needs 250 yards or something to break the record. It's very doable in these last two games. I don't know if they'll bench him. I hope not, but 152 touchdowns over 23 carries. He wasn't as great in the second half. No one was, to be fair with you. Also, now I'm usually a positive guy, Ryan, but how do you lose a game when you win the turnover battle, what was it, 5-1?
Yeah.
Or 6-1?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And I will get to Kenny Pickett in a minute. So don't even get me started. Philadelphia receiving, again, Kenny Pickett did a horrible job. 15 targets to A.J. Brown, and then Devontae gets 8, and then no one else gets anything else. I mean, boy, oh boy, this was just horrible. I mean, A.J. Brown did what he could, but he only caught half the pass that he, was thrown to. Fumbles, we got 4 fumbles back. I mean, I don't know what we're doing. It's just please. Nakobe Dean and Zach Vaughn, I say time and time again, they've been so good. Zach Vaughn, especially on that 4th down, huge stop there to get us in great field position. But yeah, like I said, this defense was not good. I mean, we let up 22 in the 4th quarter. That just cannot happen. Our secondary wasn't good. Darius Slay actually had a solid game. But other than that, I mean, it was just brutal out there to watch. We let Washington get a bunch of good returns, let them get solid field position. But when Kenny Pickett has the ball on the 40 and can't get any points out of it, oh, come on. I mean, he's just brutal. Like you said, I saw you said you needed to put McKee in there. I would have preferred that because, we've seen him in the preseason. He's been just out of this world in the preseason. But then again, it's a preseason, so no one really cares. But Kenny Pickett, man, I mean, this was just horrible. I mean, you could have picked 3 minutes left to go. I thought they won the game. Absolutely not. Kenny Pickett finds a way. This offense finds a way. I mean, you have 3 minutes left on the clock. You only burn off 1 minute. Jaden Daniels gets you with 2 minutes to go, and a bunch of McDaniels magic, and you got a touchdown. So I guess I'll go over to Jaden Daniels. 2 interceptions. I mean, brother. 2 interceptions, 4 fumbles, 6-1 turnover ratio or whatever. I mean, we won the turnover battle. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can win the turnover battle by 5 and not win a football game. It is just absurd to me. I mean, I can't believe it. Jaden Daniels, I benched him for Jared Goff in fantasy this week. Okay.
I mean, he threw 2 picks, so,
Yeah. But he still did very, very well fantasy-wise because of those 5 touchdowns.
True.
Oh, please. Anyways, Brian Robinson, we really shut down the run game other than Jaden Daniels getting out of the pocket. I mean, defensive line, again, how is Jaden Daniels making magic happen on the ground? I mean, he's just juking people left and right. I mean, I can't even believe it. Receiving, here's one thing I will say. If someone's going to cook us on Washington, it might as well be Olamide Zaccheaus because, you love to see a prep guy, dialing in there. Zach Ertz, they had no tight end play whatsoever. Like I said, Jamison Crowder, I mean, of course he gets 2 random catches for 2 touchdowns. I mean, I didn't even know the guy coming into the game. Anyways, yeah, they did very, very well receiving wise. Like I said, fumbles. Brian Robinson was absolutely horrible. De'Ami Brown as well. We did good punching out the ball. Bobby Wagner, he was solid on the defense. Frankie Louvu, he had a pick, I think. Marshawn Lattimore, he was okay other than those 2 big PI calls on A.J. Brown in that 3rd quarter or something, or 2nd quarter. But yeah, Kenny Pickett was just kind of throwing it up there to him most of the time. Kick returns, Luke McCaffrey did a very, very good job. He returned 47 yards, passed a 50, which was really good. But other than that, Jake Elliott missed a field goal, 56-yarder. Not going to put too much about it. And before I end this off, I mean, this was just a brutal game to watch. Brayden, man, we need to give the guys flowers. Consistently imminent week in and week out. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. Pin 1 inside the 5, 2 in the 20. Just consistent. Ryan, you got anything?
Yeah, I will. Give me 1 second here. I want to make sure. I hope this microphone's working because I plugged it in, and I swear to God, if it's not working, Okay, it is working. Because the light's not on, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if it wasn't working or not. But nonetheless, I was debating whether I was going to do my okay, and then Cole was going to have to cover his ears. But I'm not going to do that today because of the fact that even though the Eagles lost this game, and I am very, 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 very frustrated about it, we did win 10 games straight. And then the one game that our quarterback, not 10 defensive players, because, the Detroit fans want to come out and say, we said that injuries are an excuse. Our main guy got injured. The guy who is the winningest quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes in the last couple of seasons got hurt. I just want to point that out. But nonetheless, I don't know whether to make an excuse for Kenny Pickett or to completely blame Kenny Pickett for this game. I would say, yes, lots of it was on him, and I was giving him a lot of fair criticism on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He looked bad. I would say that the offense is fully based around Jalen Hurts' capabilities, especially with the way A.J. Brown plays. But, at the end of the day, Kenny Pickett had so many years to start in Pittsburgh. He, was a first-round draft pick. He was comfortable with the area. He's comfortable with the Pennsylvania area. He knows, Pennsylvania as a whole. The guy is not in any foreign area. The guy's been with the team since training camp. It's not like we picked him up last week. And he came in there and looked like a lost puppy. I mean, let's be honest here. This guy was an absolute disgrace. Every ball was either underthrown or underthrown. There were a few pass interference calls that we got for A.J. Brown. Lattimore was hugging him the whole game. Looked like he wanted to take him out to Chickies and Pete's, for God's sakes. But, Kenny Pickett didn't do anything. And I don't understand what people are trying to say, that he kept us in the game. The guy, so let's break it down. The one touchdown he had to go 20 yards, and the Commanders were not ready for him to come into the game because Jalen Hurts subbed out in the middle of the drive. The other touchdown was a Saquon Barkley 60-yard run. And then we got a few field goals from Jake Elliott. I really don't understand how the guy did his job if he just completely looked terrible. The guy did nothing. Now, I understand the one play to Devontae Smith could have ended the game. He dropped the ball. Yes, that happened. 9 times out of 10, he makes that catch. It's the same thing what happened with Saquon Barkley. The guy dropped the ball, and the defense wasn't ready to come off the field. They were already halfway on the bus, and they were tired. They were exhausted from being on the field for the entire second half, and then they gave up a touchdown. It happens, all right? But Kenny Pickett was nothing special. If you want to say he did his job, go ahead. He was able to help the Eagles put 33 points on the board, but he did nothing to keep us in this game. He blew a lead. There were many times where he could have made a good throws. Even the ball to Barkley on the wheel route, he underthrew him. Barkley would have made the catch if he didn't have to come back to it. It was just a disaster from Kenny Pickett. And for all the people who like to criticize Jalen Hurts, I won't name names here, but the constant amount of people that like to criticize Jalen Hurts because he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, and Carson Wentz and Nick Foles took us there. The Eagles are 0-4 in the last 3 seasons without Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback. When Jalen Hurts does not play, they are 0-4. Now, if you want to include this game, if you don't want to include this game, go right ahead. But for the majority of the game, they had to play without Jalen Hurts.
What about Minshew versus the Jets? Was that like earlier?
No, this is the
Uh-huh.
the last time we played the Jets was 2022, I think, in the regular, or 2021, 2022 regular season.
It was before.
That was Hurts. Hurts was in there. So you can't say that Hurts is not a game changer. You can't say that he's not a winner. You want to call him a game manager? Fine. But he also has won about, 70, 80% of his games throughout the last couple of seasons. So you're not going to tell me that Jalen Hurts is not a winning quarterback. I mean, you're not going to. But anyway, I'm looking at Saquon Barkley. On the stat sheet, it looks like a very good game. 29 carries, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Honestly, it could have been a great game for Barkley. And since the last time he played the Commanders, he could have had a great game here. I'm looking at his final stat sheet, Cole. He could have had a real chance to break the single season rushing record if he would have had a little bit better of a game. But the Commanders sent 7-8 guys through in the box at him. Every single play because they knew Kenny Pickett wasn't going to beat him. And they're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat him. So why let it happen? Why let Barkley beat you when you can just let Kenny Pickett blow the game? I mean, it happened.
And I think that goes to show how much of a game changer the Jalen Hurts is because teams would just stop Saquon Barkley if Jalen Hurts was so bad.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of what happened on the Giants. I mean, to be honest with you. Hopefully Barkley isn't ready to kill somebody in the locker room because of getting deja vu. But nonetheless, I'm looking at the receiving here. I'm looking at A.J. Brown. Had 8 of his 15 targets caught. I wouldn't say Lattimore did a bad job. I do think that there was constant double teams on him because Kenny Pickett just kept throwing the ball his way. Credit to A.J. Brown, though. I mean, he made some really nice catches. In some times that we really needed them to come through, drew those couple pass interference calls. I also would say that Lattimore was holding him for the majority of the time. And if he holds him every single play, then it's going to become the norm, and the officials are not going to call it. I'm not going to fully blame A.J. Brown for not bringing in more targets than what the stat sheet implies. Devontae Smith, he was clutch for us in the majority part of the game. He made a couple catches on 3rd or 4th down, ran a nice out route and all that. But everybody's just going to talk about that one drop at the end of the game that would have just sealed the game for us there. The Eagles are 2 drops away from becoming, from being a 1-loss team, and we'd have the 1 seed by now. So obviously mistakes happen. And that's just part of the game, so you can't really make that sort of excuse. But it is what it is. Nobody else really receiving. Calcaterra, not even a catch. Matt Dotson or Wilson, not even a target. They were doing nothing. The offensive line wasn't bad. There's not really much you can do when it comes to the run game because they just kept sending 7-8 guys. 7-8 on 5. It's not going to go in your favor. Defensively, listen, people want to talk about how they gave up 36 points, but you also have to take into consideration fatigue. Look, the Eagles' defense was great for the majority of the game. And then when the offense in the second half, and particularly the 3rd quarter, the defense was on the field for so long. Because Kenny Pickett just kept going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You're going to get tired. You're going to get tired at some point. It's not like these guys have unlimited energy. I'm looking at the tackling, especially in the 4th quarter. It was disgraceful. You don't have the energy to wrap up. I understand it. Is it upsetting? Yes, but I do understand it. And you're just ankle diving. And against this Commanders team that is a very elusive, very quick, and they can break ankle dives, it's just going to happen. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson, mouthing off with the officials. Listen, on one end, the officials shouldn't have thrown him out for just talking. He also got hit on the penalty that was thrown on him. The guy punched him in the face, whoever it was. I don't remember off the top of my head. But also, if the officials are going to get pissed off at you for talking, then just shut up. Okay? It's just not that hard. There's definitely 2 sides you could take, but I'm more in the middle on that one. And then, honestly, if he was in there, I don't know if that last play to Jamison Crowder would have happened. Now, would have the Eagles ultimately given up a touchdown? Possibly. It possibly could have happened. But, it is what it is. The defensive line was pretty decent. They stopped Robinson. Carter did a really nice job, shutting down the run game. Milton Williams. Jordan Davis got injured. I don't know if he just needed oxygen or what it was. Josh Sweat got injured. The pass rush at the end of the game was bad. But then again, fatigue. The defense was fine, Cole, throughout the first 3 quarters, and then they got tired in the fourth quarter. And also, if Hurts was in there, they would have rode his momentum, and they wouldn't have been on the field for that long. Against the Steelers, the offense was on the field for 10 minutes straight in the final quarter. It's clear the offense can have long, good, sustaining drives, and the defense is not going to get tired. I don't understand what people are really talking about. Now I'm really getting pissed off here because, people are talking about, if Hurts was in there, the Commanders still wouldn't have won. They were whooping your ass before Hurts got injured. He was beating the shit out of you guys before he got hurt. How the hell can you talk about this? Yeah, I'm salty about the loss, but Jesus Christ, have you never stepped onto a football field before? Holy shit, man. Come on. Cole, you hit something.
Steelers only got the ball 2 times in the second half. I mean, that should just go to show you. Also, I will say, defensive line, we didn't get to the quarterback enough. He only sacked him once, and he got out of the pocket, got a bunch of yards. And then, I will say, Ryan, you asked me a ton of questions about the Phillies during baseball season. I'm going to ask you a couple questions here. So, when do you think Jalen Hurts should come back?
Next week. Well, actually, I won't say that because the way the Cowboys are looking, especially beating a potential playoff team in the Buccaneers, they're looking good. Now they're shooting themselves in the foot by by beating the Bucs. They're getting a worse draft pick, and Mike McCarthy's probably going to come back. So that's their fault. But nonetheless, I would say if he's good to come back. Like, if he is 100%, that being his head, if he's 100% healthy, like if he's clearing all the protocols with flying colors, then you bring him back. If he's 75%, even if he's 90%, you don't bring him back. Because at the end of the day, you play the Giants week 18. And a fully healthy Eagles team taking on a Giants team that has nothing to lose and are going to be fighting to try to get that number 1 overall pick. I mean, you don't really need him back next week because the Eagles are going to win the division. If they somehow lose the division, then it will be one of the biggest collapses. It might be a bigger collapse than last year, to be honest with you, just because of how good they're looking. But having said all of that, if Hurts is 100% in the concussion protocol, and then you bring him back. And to be honest, Cole, I mean, he looked fine. He looked like he was ready. I mean, now obviously looking fine when you have a concussion is, it doesn't really say much, but he was ready to come back in the game. He looked like he was ready to go. Now, obviously, the team has to protect him from himself, but he looked ready to go. He was holding his thumbs up to the officials saying he was good. He looked like he was with it. So I don't expect him to not be 100% heading into next week. But if he is 100% heading into next week, I would say this, and Adam Schefter did a really good job pointing this out and getting a little off topic here. But if you can bring him back and beat the Cowboys and secure the division, I would sit everybody for week 18 because you're not going to get the number 1 seed based off of, the statistics that we have like a 5% chance. And also, if you let the Giants win in week 18, you give them a worse draft pick. You let them drop to like 6 or 7, and Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, hell, Dylan Gabriel might not even be there. So you're screwing the Giants over, and there's not really much you have to lose if you sit everybody in week 18 saying you win next week.
And then I guess I'll do one more. How do you see the Eagles panning out, I guess, heading into the playoffs? And do you think that this loss could be similar to last year and that path that they were taking?
Well, first thing I would say, how I see them going into the playoffs, I would say that they're a 100% Super Bowl contender. I just said it. They were literally beating their ass before Hurts got injured. I mean, they got it. They got a turnover on the first drive, a turnover on downs. Barkley took it in. They drove down, 50 yards, 45 yards, whatever it was. They took it down with ease, and they scored. And then Hurt, and then right when Hurts got hurt, they were driving right down the field again after they forced the Commanders to punt it away. So the Eagles are a great team right now. When everybody's fully healthy, when everybody's looking good, hell, even without Brandon Graham and Darius Slay getting injured every 10 seconds, they're looking like a really good football team. And you can't deny that. Now, I don't understand why people are so up in arms about them giving up 36 when, as I said, if Hurts was in there, the defense would have rode the momentum and not given up 36 points. So how I see them going into the playoffs, I think they're the best team in the NFC when if Hurts is in there 100%, I think that even Hurts wasn't 100% coming into the game. He had a left finger injury. So it's not like he was 100% at all. But if he is ready to go and, he's healthy, then the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFC, especially with the way the Lions defense is looking. They gave up a couple points to the Chicago Bears, an offense that has looked abysmal over the past couple of weeks. So I would say the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFC. Now, am I going to put them at top number one on my top 5 NFL teams for this week? No, because they lost. But heading into the playoffs, they're probably the best team in the NFC. Now, do I think the Eagles are heading down a bad path from last year? No, because they were on a 10-game winning streak, and I'm looking. And if you look at the scores, you handled the Steelers pretty easily. You beat the Panthers. You didn't beat the Panthers by that much. You beat the Ravens. You were in control for most of the game. Obviously those Tucker field goals didn't help. You were in control for the Rams game in the second half. And in this 10-game winning streak, you've been in control for most of those parts of those games. So I don't think the Eagles are going to go down a bad path again, because once again, I think this is a fluke loss, and I'm not going to get so mad about it. Once again, I just mentioned it, and it all comes back to, the Eagles were beating the shit out of them before Jalen Hurts got injured. So it's not that much of a problem. I think they're fine.
All right.
And last thing I want to bring up here is the commentating. And I feel like this guy who called in Barstool Sports yesterday was absolutely correct with Dave Portnoy and John Gruden. I hate Greg Olson's commentary. For some reason, people love it. I personally hate it. I think it's an absolute disgrace. It was a couple of years ago when I was watching the Eagles, and it was the 2021-2022 season when Jalen Hurts got first year he started, and the Eagles, when they ran the ball, they were looking good, and for some reason they were throwing the ball for most of the time. But nonetheless, I remember when there was one game the Eagles were running the ball great, they weren't passing the ball great, and Greg Olson said, "Yeah, I think the Eagles should pass the ball a little bit more. They're looking good in that department." Everyone and their grandmother could say that they weren't passing the ball well, and when they were running the ball, they were a better football team. But anyway, when it comes to commentary in today's NFL, I hate how commentators have to push a storyline. This is not the WWE. Commentators have to push a storyline in WWE, not in the NFL. The play-by-play guy is the one who's supposed to discuss what happens during the play, what's going on. The color guy is supposed to discuss what happens discuss what happened during the play and the X's and O's and all that. You're not supposed to push a storyline. Now, obviously, the networks want you to push a storyline because it's statistically proven that people watch sports because of the storylines. That's just what people love. So if you want to push a storyline, I would say you can go ahead and do it if it brings up your ratings. I'm not gonna criticize you for it. That's just not my cup of tea. But if you're gonna push a storyline, don't push the stupidest storylines. The guy was 100% correct when he said when he was shitting on Greg Olson for asking why aren't the Eagles playing well. I mean, my grandma was sitting right there in front of the TV knowing the Eagles weren't playing well because the starting quarterback wasn't in there. I mean, give me a goddamn break. I could give you many storyline options to push throughout the game, then ask why aren't the Eagles playing so well. Gee whiz, the starting quarterback got an injury, and he's not in there. The backup's in there. Oh, well, gee, I don't know why the Eagles aren't playing so well. I mean, give me a goddamn break. You could push the storyline, how are the Eagles going to face the adversity without Jalen Hurts? You could push a storyline, I don't know, will the Eagles defense get tired? And ultimately, the answer was yes. push any storyline other than why are the Eagles not playing well? I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? Are you crazy? What a disgrace that was, Cole. But I think Greg Olson should commentate WWE with the way he's pushing the storylines. What a complete idiot. He's won awards when it's come to commentating. And I'm not going to discredit that. It's clear that some high-ranking people enjoy his commentary. But at the end of the day, I think I know what I'm talking about as well when it comes to this stuff. I've been doing this for how many years, and there have been many high-ranking individuals that have praised my work. I'm not going to say who and what they have said, but, I've had many people praise my commentary as well. And Cole's been on the mic before, too, when it comes to games, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But that was a disgrace, whatever that was. But we'll move on here if Cole doesn't have anything else to say about that. I know Cole saw the clip as well with that one guy. But nonetheless, we'll move on here. What is it?
It's like you articulated it perfectly.
Thank you. But anyway, I've been talking for the past 20 minutes here, so let's move over to Cole here. Let's stick inside the NFC and let's go into the North. The Minnesota Vikings, a team that is trying to fight for the 1 seed right now with their division rival Detroit Lions, and with an Eagles loss, their path couldn't get any clearer, and then now they just have to win a couple of games. So, Cole, are the Vikings true contenders in the NFC right now?
100%. They're in a perfect spot right now. You could say that they're not very good. 13-2 is very good to me, and I get that they're winning close games, but that frankly doesn't matter to me. You have the Packers and you have the Lions. 2 more games. Packers and Vikings got moved to 425, and I don't know if you saw this, Ryan, but Eagles Cowboys got moved to 1.
I did.
This is a big game, as well as the Vikings Lions. Vikings Lions at the end of the year, depending on if the Vikings beat the Packers, it could be the biggest game of the year because the Packers are going to be in the playoffs. They're already at 10 wins. They're fine. The Vikings are looking at the 1 seed. They got their eye on the 1 seed. I don't know how easy it would be for them. The Lions might need to lose one. I don't think they will, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they just need to beat the Lions. But then again, I could be wrong. Anyways, are they a contender? Absolutely. They've been great all year. Sam Darnold's looked solid. They're only bad losses, I guess. I mean, they don't really have any bad losses, to be 100% honest with you. They did lose to the Lions, but you only lost by a field goal. And then you did lose to the Rams by 10, but the Rams have been solid this year. I think they have the NFC South right now because of that Seattle Seahawks loss last night. But yeah, I think they 100% are, right?
I would say yes. I will, but here's the thing: they're definitely a playoff contender, but I think it depends on what they where they go to.
Yeah, depends
on their seeding. Because if they get the 5 seed, then I have no doubt in my mind that they'll go right into They'll go right into Tampa or Atlanta and win that game easily. And then if they're the 5 seed, they would probably have to play the Lions second round, I would say, because if the Lions get the 1 seed, they probably. I don't see the Commanders winning. And then who's the West winner? The West winner would probably be Arizona or Seattle. So actually, I don't know. The 6th seed, whoever the 6th seed is, could definitely beat the 3rd seed. But they'll either have to play Philadelphia or Detroit, saying they get the 2nd seed, or saying they get the 5th seed. If they and honestly, they could go into Detroit and win.
We saw it with the Packers last year. No one expected them to go in and beat Dallas, but they did.
The Lions barely beat them on their own home field. I think the Vikings could go into their home field and do it as well. Do I think it'll happen? I don't know. That offense of Detroit is really, really good. Even without David Montgomery, you still got Jahmyr Gibbs, who is one of the best backs in the NFL. You still got a great receiving core. So I am a little concerned about your defense against Detroit. You gave up 31 against them last go-around. And their offense is still pretty much fine. It's not like their defense that has taken a big hit. I think it'd be a very close game. I think it'd be a very high offensive productive game. Against Philadelphia, I don't see the Vikings beating Philadelphia. I don't think their defense is good enough to take on the Eagles. Their offense, I think their offense is very, very good, but the Eagles match up against them very, 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 very well. Especially the run game. I doubt Aaron Jones does anything against the Eagles' run game or the Eagles' run defense. The way Zach Bond and Jacoby Dean are getting in the backfield, no matter what gap running backs are trying to get through, Aaron Jones can get through multiple gaps. But yeah, the way Dean and Bond have been playing, I don't see him getting through them. So I think but if they get the 1 seed, I think it could be a lot different because then Detroit would have to come into your home stadium. And they barely beat you in your own home stadium. And the Vikings have been better, definitely, since that loss. So yeah. I think that
and this game coming up in the last week, that's going to be a big game because that'll show us really where they stand.
Well, the first, so yeah, I would agree there. But also, I want to.
Either way, we have to play Detroit.
I also want to bring something up here. The Packers are no damn joke. I feel like everybody's just. Getting rid of what the Packers have been doing here. Now, do I think the Vikings will win? Yes, but the Packers are a damn good team. It doesn't really seem to matter if Jordan Love or Malik Willis is playing. Their team is really, really good. They beat the Seahawks pretty handily last week. I expect them to roll over the Saints. They barely lost to the Lions, and they've been looking really, really, really good. The only teams that have given them some problems are the Lions. I think the thing
that separates them really is their depth.
Right. And the last time the Packers played the Vikings, they only lost by 2 points. So, this is no pushover here for the Minnesota Vikings. You got to beat the Green Bay Packers. So I would say that there's no pushover. There's no pushover there. But to answer your question, Cole, I would say yes, 100%. They are a pure contender in the NFC right now. I would say they're probably the 3rd best team. I only say that now just because the Lions beat them earlier in the regular season. But I will say it again. For them to get to the Super Bowl, it matters where they play. If they're the 1 seed, then I think they can definitely get to the NFC Championship game. But if they're the 5 seed, I don't see them making it past the 2nd round. We'll move on, though. We're going to move on here to the Baltimore Ravens. So pretty much the same question I'm going to ask. Are the Ravens surefire contenders? Now, I think the Ravens are contenders. I think they have been all season. But they're a very tricky team because they can win the division, which I think they will. They can win the division and lose in the first round. The way this team's been playing, they can lose in the first round. And you have so many weapons, but you somehow find a way to lose. It doesn't make any sense. The offense, for some reason, I don't know if they can't just find their switch. I think Zay Flowers has to step up immensely because as good as Rashad Bateman has been over the past couple of weeks, especially on the deep ball, he's not going to, be a number 1 wide receiver on a championship team. Zay Flowers definitely has to step up here. And he only has a few touchdowns this year. He has 4 touchdowns. And he got, what do you call it? He was coming into the game with a shoulder injury. I think he had a shoulder injury after the game, whatever it was. But he's got to step up immensely. I think I have a little bit of concerns about this defense. You gave up 17 to a Steelers team without George Pickens. And I don't know if that's a problem or not. But the Steelers' offense is nowhere what it is without George Pickens in the lineup. So I would say with the Baltimore Ravens, they're definitely surefire contenders. But is the key word here. They can definitely win the division and lose first round. I don't think they're beating Kansas City. I don't think anybody's beating Kansas City. I know, but I don't think anybody can beat Patrick Mahomes I don't think anybody's beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Come on.
No, in the playoffs.
I know, but come on, Ryan. You've seen Josh Allen this year. He's been incredible.
Yeah, he's been incredible, but he also looked incredible last year against Kansas City in the regular season, and then they got bounced in the playoffs. I can't see. Until somebody beats Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I'm not going to bet against them. But anyway, what do you think about the Ravens?
Ravens, this team is the definition of inconsistent. You look at their defense. Their defense through the first 8 games is like the worst in the league. Then they tune it in. You hold a bunch of great teams to a few points, like the Steelers twice, like Eagles 24. That's not bad. Again, they're inconsistent, and like I said, they have rentals for offensive players. I mean, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Likely, Andrews. Derrick Henry's very, very good, and I think he's their best offensive player other than Lamar Jackson, obviously. But, I mean, it's just inconsistent all around. Like you can see, one week they look incredible. They look like Super Bowl contenders. The other week they look horrible. I mean, it's just, can they find a way to, minimize their mistakes? Because that's what I think it is right now. Because, they beat the Bills 35-10. But, I mean, in weeks past, you have, like, the Kansas City game where you lose on, like, on Isaiah Likely toe. And, just things like that. I mean, the small details, the things that, separate them from, the top tier. I think that they're A tier. I think Kansas City and the Bills are S tier. I really like what they did against that Steelers team. I get you can discredit it because Pickens was out. But, I mean, you can discredit the Eagles as well because Pickens was out. I mean, like, we can do this. I mean, well, you get my point.
Yeah.
I do think they're contenders 100%. I think they're not as big, they're not as big as contenders as the Vikings are, just because, you have to worry about Kansas City. But I think that they can take Kansas City. I think that they're ready. Defenses look better these past couple weeks. And, Lamar Jackson's always got, something up his sleeve. I like this team going to the playoffs. Obviously, like I said, inconsistency can play a part in a quick exit. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run. Right?
I see them winning the division.
Yeah.
Because they play the Texans on Christmas. I think they win that. Then they play the Browns week 18. The Steelers, they got to play the Chiefs on Christmas, and then they got to play the Bengals, who are looking pretty decent on in week 18. So I see the Steelers, see the Rams winning the division. But let's move on here. Let's move on to some MLB. There have been some moves that have, I don't know if I want to say rock the world, but some moves that can be very, very, how do I say?
I don't know. That's some pretty big moves in here,
No,
Ryan.
I mean, I think there's some big moves. I think there's some moves that can, tell us some stuff down the stretch.
Come on. I really like this week. I think this is my favorite week for MLB wise. I like the little things, Ryan. I like the little things.
I got you.
All right, A's, they get Jeffrey Springs from Tampa Bay. I like this. It was a 6-player trade, which I just did not see coming. But, again, bottom of the barrel, I don't really care. Springs is all right. Sagano to the O's, 1-year deal, $13 million. I mean, this is just for rotational help, just because of the pure amount of injuries that they had last year, which is the reason that they didn't bode well in the playoffs. Just because, you lost so many guys over the course of the season to arm injuries. So I think that's a solid deal. And, again, a rental guy. Yankees get Bellinger from the Cubs. This was a Yankees-filled week. You get Bellinger from the Cubs. I mean, this is great. You have a first baseman now. Now they got another one. So Cody Bellinger's going to play in the outfield. And he's probably going to play left or right. filling that spot that Juan Soto left. So I don't know who's going to play him left for them. I don't know what Verdugo's doing. I forget. But, again, you got options. Phillies, you get Max Kepler. I like this deal. Provides a little bit of a power bat. This is similar to Austin Hayes. Now, Hayes hasn't been great with us. But I think Kepler's, he's all right. And I think he can give a bunch of guys in the lineup some breaks down the stretch because, obviously this team got tired out down the stretch, especially towards the playoffs. So I do like that deal. A's, they get Gio Urshela. He's probably the highest paid player on their team. For all I care. I don't really care, though. So, moving on. Red Sox, they get Patrick Sandoval. Now, they've done a bunch of things this offseason. Obviously, you lose in the Juan Soto debate or big
sweepstakes.
Yes. Anyways, Patrick Sandoval, he was good in the first half for the Angels. He's been good past years with the Angels. So, lefty vet, 2 years, $18 million. They're going to do a similar thing that they did with Cutter Crawford. So I don't hate this deal at all for them. They're big with their vet guys. So, yeah, I could see this turning out well. And you get another mentor for Brian Belo, which is, again, another big thing. Yankees, they trade Jose Trevino for Fernando Cruz and Alex Jackson. I don't really care. Jose Trevino, he's washed up. I mean, he's okay, but you have other guys to fill in for him. Not a big spot to fill. And I like that the guys that they got back for him. Astros, you get Christian Walker from Houston. I mean, this is the things that I like. Walker, I don't want to say that. I'm glad that the Mets didn't get him because I thought that's where he was going. Mets are going to have to get Alonso back or something. Astros, you get Walker. You finally fill in that hole that you've been having at first. You've had Trey Mancini. You've had Jose Abreu. I don't even know you had. It's just been brutal. So you finally get a guy who you can trust there. 3 years, $60 million. Not only is he a power bat, and he'll probably bat middle of the order for you guys, but he's also a Gold Glover. So you love to see that. And speaking of first baseman, Yankees, you get Paul Goldschmidt, and you get to move Bellinger to the outfield. This is huge because Rizzo is so bad. Now, I get Bellinger to Soto as a downgrade, but when you add Goldschmidt instead of Rizzo, value goes up. 1 year, $12.5 million deal. Obviously, he's a former MVP, 7-time All-Star. But you have options now. He wasn't great last year, but again, he's a vet. He can get back into the swing of things. And I think they have great coaching staff down there in New York or up there in New York. So I think that they could turn him around a little bit. Squeak out a couple years with him. But this is similar to Anthony Rizzo when they signed him because Anthony Rizzo, he was getting up there in age. He was a Gold Glove defender. And Paul Goldschmidt it's kind of a similar story. So I hope that this doesn't happen. Similar path that Rizzo had. Guardians, they get Guardians trade Jack Naylor to the D-backs. They got to fill in a hole that they just Walker just left, so you get that. Josh Naylor, he's electric. 1 year, $12 million deal. They also got Guardians got Carlos Santana, I believe. So it's kind of just switching first baseman this week. So I'm a first baseman, so I kind of like this even more. So yeah, Carlos Santana, he's been with the Guardians before. What is this? His second or third stint with them. So, yep, Josh Naylor, I really like this deal, especially for the Diamondbacks. They needed a guy like this. Obviously, you have a downgrade defensively, but I think he brings similar offensive patterns to that team. So I think he'll fit in very well. Again, first baseman, Nationals, they get Nathaniel Lowe, deal with the Rangers for Robert Garcia. I really like this for the the Nationals. Not so much for the Rangers. Robert Garcia is okay, but Nathaniel Lowe, he's been solid for the Rangers in past years. And Nationals, they've been looking for a guy like that. Last year you didn't really have a guy at first base. You kind of just had a couple guys switching in and out. So you have things to build on with James Wood and C.J. Abrams. You have an okay starting pitching lineup. It's starting to get better down there in Washington. Thank you, God. Phillies finally get a fifth starter in Jesus Luzardo. I love this deal. Luzardo, he has incredible stuff. He's a lefty. We give up Kaba and one other guy. Kaba, I didn't like that we gave him up. He is really young. I think he's like 17, 18. He's super young. I really like him. But I like Luzardo more. So it's safe to say that I'm okay with this deal. And we needed a fifth guy so badly because Walker, whoever we had, Michael Mercado.
Don't even get me started.
Phillips, we're not cutting it. So Jesus Luzardo, I really like him. And especially because he can learn off Ranger. This is perfect. I mean, it's just solid. I love the deal. I'll grade it like an A-. Finally, we got that fifth starting spot figured out. Manai back to the Mets. He's gross. He was gross last year. 3 year, $75 million, A+. Rangers, they get Peterson. It's okay. I mean, I really couldn't care less. Jack Peterson has not been that good. Actually, he's been okay. So I'll grade this like a C. Bueller to the Red Sox. I really like this. Again, they love their vets. I don't know what it is, but they love their 1 year, $21 million deals. Patrick Sandoval for 18. I mean, they really need a guy who, starts to pivot them towards contention and, to being, bigger contenders. Because obviously last year, they couldn't really battle in that AL East. And now you got a bunch of guys who can pitch well against those guys. We saw Walker Bueller in the World Series. I said he would have a gem. He did have a gem against the Yankees. So I'm happy about that. But anyways, yeah, I like this deal. Walker Bueller, it wasn't that great last year, but he did okay in the World Series. So, there's upside there. McCutchen back to the Pirates. What do we expect? I mean, I don't know when he's going to retire. He's the LeBron James of MLB at this point. I mean, I got nothing else. Right?
Well, first thing I got to talk about something that I was absolutely pissed about. The Yankees are just, I don't know. I mean, they're on like a raging spree right now with these trades and signings and all this. I mean, ever since they lost Soto, you get Bellinger here. I was very frustrated the Phillies couldn't get Bellinger. I would have really liked to take him. Hell, I don't know. Can he play center? I mean, I guess he can. I can't stand Rojas with all my heart and soul. I know Cole is a fan of him, but I'm not a fan at all. So I was very frustrated. But for the Yankees, I mean, I feel like this is pretty good for them right now. You move him into the outfield. He doesn't need to play first because you signed Paul Goldschmidt. How that deal will work out is I'm not really sure. I don't think he will really be much of a difference maker, in my opinion. I think
but I mean, you always have the ability to put Bellinger there, and you only got him for $12 million. So
no, yeah, I know. I think the Goldschmidt deal is decent. It's a proven deal 1 year, and what do you really have to lose if you're the Yankees? I mean, you got to the World Series last year. You lost Soto, so you might as well try something. The Phillies, not really much of big moves going on here. I guess you could say Luzardo, or however you pronounce his name, was probably the biggest move thus far. This guy backs Kepler. I mean, 1 year, $10 million. I mean, it is what it is. He batted .253 last year, played in 105 games. I mean, where's he going to play? Is he going to go to center? Or is he going to play? Where is he going to play? Is he going to be in the lineup somewhere? I don't know where he's going to be playing. Cole, maybe you have that answer for me. I don't know where he's going to be playing.
I could see him falling in for Marsh. Obviously, Marsh was solid, but again, he was not good in the second half at all. He was bad. And I think he's more of an injury guy. He could slide in there. Obviously, you have Hayes, but Hayes is built like he has a weird build. I don't like it, but I don't know. Max Kepler, it's like a weird thing with him. I think this was mostly, just to get another bat in the lineup, similar to Edmundo Sosa, to be honest. Kind of a utility outfielder, utility infielder, that type of thing. Obviously, referring to both of them. So yeah.
I guess it makes sense. He could fill in for Marsh and Hayes and all that.
Obviously, Castellanos might not miss a game ever, but
yeah, true. Trevino,
he does get injured.
Trevino traded. I mean, the Yankees just kind of. I feel like they're trying to get some new guys in there. Trevino obviously is nothing special. Christian Walker to the Astros. I mean, I feel like the Astros are just trying anything now since the what do you call it? Because they were terrible last year. But 3 years, $60 million. Not a bad deal in my opinion. I talked about the Goldschmidt thing. I'm a big fan of Josh Naylor. I really like his style. I know Cole was raving about him as well here, but I'm a big fan of him. He's only 27 years old. He's had a lot of experience in the league thus far. He batted 243 last season. And he in 121 games played. In 2023 batted 308. So I'm a big fan of him. He's pretty good defensively as well. The Diamondbacks trying to get back to what they once were. Do I think they'll ever win the World Series as long as Ohtani is a Dodger? No, but don't know till you try. Lowe traded to the Nationals. I mean, I don't know. I don't think this does much. Cole, maybe you feel differently than me, but I don't know. Are the Rangers trying to contend here? Or are they not? I mean, you have DeGrom, who's injury prone. You have a couple guys as a pitcher, pitching wise. You have Seager, you have Seaman. You just won the World Series 2 years ago, and Lowe. I mean, it was a pretty decent part of that, in my opinion. So I don't know. Are they trying to unload here? I don't really know what they're doing. But for the Nationals, Cole mentioned they have some good guys. I like Abrams a lot. I think he's really good, as much as I hate to say it. But you have some guys that are pretty good. I'm not sure if this is just for. I don't really know what this is for. If you're the Nationals, I'm not really sure why you're trading. You're trading away Robert Garcia. I don't have a clue who this guy is, so I guess it's whatever. But anyway, the Phillies, they land Jesus Luzardo. Now, Cole, I know you're very happy about this deal, but my concerns lie with his 3-6 record and him only playing in 12 games. That my concern lies there, and it looks like he's coming to the Phillies with a back injury. From what I'm reading here, I am a bit concerned with this because I don't want another season where we have to rotate in between fifth starters, and then these guys look like a bunch of losers. So I'm very cautiously optimistic about this. And I have not liked the Phillies offseason thus far. You got bounced out in the second round by the New York Mets, who looked a lot better than you, and they're in your division. I don't think you beat the Dodgers, whether you have God himself or whether you have the team that you have. So, obviously, getting these guys who I am cautiously optimistic about are not going to help my chances in being a little more optimistic about the Philadelphia Phillies. And Cole, I feel like with the Phillies right now, this question is stuck with me. Scarlett asked me like a few months ago, will the Phillies ever get back to their old form? Like with the Red October, when it first was, the Red October. Oh my God, Mosey. Shh. But the question stuck with me. Like I feel like, Cole, maybe you can break this down for me here, but I feel like the Phillies are just like lost right now. You you're like in the middle of this NL where it doesn't look like you're going to get out of the NL, and it looks like there are teams jumping you, especially within the free agent market. And that question is sticking with me. Will they ever get back to what they were? And it feels like every year they're just decreasing. I don't know, Cole.
Yeah, I would say that 2022 year was special, just because of the emotions and the other stuff around that. Because obviously that year was special, and you pretty much rode Wheeler and Nola the whole playoff run. You had Zach Eflin at the bullpen. Ranger was really good in that playoffs. So really, we've in these past years we've relied on starting pitching, and I think that's what kind of like brought us down last year. The Ranger issues and the injuries, and him not being able to come back fully healthy. Obviously, Wheeler was incredible. Nolan was good. And obviously, you had Christopher Sanchez, who was solid as well, but that fifth starter wasn't there. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of just guys stepping up. Stott had a career year that year. Bohm was doing well. Harper was elite in the playoffs. And again, it goes back to just guys filling in. Shortstop, we didn't have Trey Turner that year. We had Stott maybe at short and Segura at second. It was a really special year. Matt Bierling in center. Castellanos right. Schwarber played a majority of left field that year, which I can't deal with another season of that. But you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I think that year was special. Getting it back, I mean, I don't know if you can get it back. I think that's just special just because of, none of those guys were really, other than Wheeler, Harper, and Nola, I mean, no one really expected us. It was kind of that underdog mentality. And I think maybe that's what we're trying to go for so far this year. Obviously, you want to add guys during the off season, but I think it's also necessary to realize maybe you could stick with this crew of guys. Obviously, we want more weapons, and a lot of people don't trust Rojas. I don't know. You probably have to come back to me for that question. I do think we should make some better moves, but other than jumping, obviously the Mets are jumping us, and a lot of guys just by making big moves, you're over us. Braves have gone below us, certainly by losing Fried. Other than that, there's not much else I could say really. Braves, they get everyone back healthy next year, so they're going to be really. I mean, this NL East is going to be packed, man. Obviously, Washington and Miami are at the bottom, but, I mean, Mets, Braves, and Phillies are going to be battling it out on. No one's getting to 100 wins for all I know. So, I don't know. You'll probably have to come back to me before the season starts.
I feel like you're right, and with the underdog thing, we were the underdogs. No one expected us to win, and we just ended up
winning. It was just like 2017.
Right.
Eagles versus Patriots. I mean, no one expected Nick Foles to come into that game and, disrupt Tom Brady the way we did. I don't know. I just think it's like Philly underdog mentality. Everyone in the East thinks New York is the bigger city, but, we're fighting down here in Philly. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think it was different. Like 2022 Phillies, 2017 Eagles, 2019 Sixers. I mean, I don't know.
And speaking of the Eagles here, I just want to read off the stat. And I will talk about the Walker Buehler thing in just a second here. Eagles with a 97% chance of being the number 2 seed according to ESPN Analytics. So with all the people being concerned about the Eagles losing the division, that's not going to happen. But anyway, moving on. Walker Buehler to the Red Sox. I'm going to be talking about the Red Sox in a bit. I think you guys know what I mean. But with the Red Sox, I mean, how do they keep getting all these guys? I mean, what the hell is up there in Boston that wants everybody to come up there? I mean, they weren't a good team last year. They were a rebuilding team, and they're just bringing in these, I don't know. I feel like these veteran guys that have somewhat of a past, but are also not that bad at the same time. Does it win them a championship? Does it get them anywhere far? Probably not.
They just want to label themselves as contending so they can get some of those bigger guys. Because I think that's probably was what the problem they had with Soto. Because I think they offered him a ton of money. I just don't think he saw them over the Yankees or the Mets.
I don't know, Cole. It's
tough.
It's not.
Anyways, move on to the Thunder.
Yeah, let's move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the number 1 seed in the West at the current moment in time. They currently have a 3-game lead over the Memphis Grizzlies, who are a surprising number 2 seed. I'll start here. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder going to win the West? I would say yes. I mean, I'm looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, one of the youngest teams in the NBA. I'm looking at Chet Holmgren, not even in the lineup. And the Thunder are winning games without him, 22-5. They're on a 7-game winning streak, 9-1 in their last 10. I don't see them losing to anybody. The Memphis Grizzlies are sure as hell of a good team, but I don't think they have the size to beat the Thunder, especially with Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, who they just got. He adds to that size. Same thing with the Houston Rockets. As much of a Sengun fan I am, I don't think that, once again, they have the size. Mavericks, same thing, no size. And then the Nuggets, I'm looking at their perimeter defense at the current moment in time, and I don't like it at all. I think that Jamal Murray is overrated as we speak right now. He looks like to be an overrated player. The Lakers are just too old and not enough depth. They can't win. And then, the Warriors are on definitely a bit of a big slide right now, 3-7 in their last 10 after having a hot start. The Clippers, Kawhi Leonard's never going to come back. So that's just a pipe dream. And then the San Antonio Spurs, I mean, they're decent, but they're too young. And then the Timberwolves are for some reason sliding as well. I don't really understand what's going on with them. They're just over 500, but at the current moment in time, I don't think anybody has the ball movement, the defense, and the depth of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, these contracts can get traded in a couple of weeks here, so maybe we could see a bit of a shakeup in the West. But as we speak right now, and also I'm looking at Phoenix, who were just over 500. And they just don't look good. So maybe they'll trade for Jimmy Butler, but I don't know if that'll work out too well. Sacramento seems to be terrible. I thought they were going to be a good team this year. Right now, it's clear that I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win the West right now. I think it's because they are really, really good, but also the teams in the West are either don't match up well against them, or the teams that we thought were going to be good have taken a slide. I will also be right back, Cole, as you talk about the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he's averaging 30 a game, but the inefficiency. I mean, obviously he's very, very good in mid-range. I mean, shooting 51 from the field, but he's only shooting 33 and a half from 3. And I mean, he's still averaging 30. And I mean, that just goes to show, how much he wants the ball and how much that they trust him. And I think a guy who's really stepped up for them is Jalen Williams. J-Dub, he's been incredible for them, averaging 21. I mean, I think it's the depth that they have that really separates them. Caruso, he's not even an offensive plug. He's a defensive, mastermind. Cason Wallace, he doesn't get that much, points either. But, he's getting really solid minutes here, 26 per game. Luke Dort, I mean, it's just these role guys. They switch in and out who, are just super solid. And, they really get the job done. And, I'll take a look at their schedule. The guys that they played and, really, the leadership that they've shown. I mean, this is just a fun team to watch, man. Jalen Williams, I mean, he's been incredible. They don't let guys, really score a ton on them. Most they've had in the past, week or two. Since December, the most they've got scored on was 119 by the Rockets. That's the only one they've lost, minus Milwaukee. I mean, even the Milwaukee game, Milwaukee doesn't get the 100 points. You let up 119, 106, 92, 109, 104, 96, 97, 99, 97. I mean, it's just a lockdown defense. And, again, like I said, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he hasn't even been totally efficient. So, you still have upside, and Holmgren's going to come back. So, you'll have two bigs. You'll have Lou Dort. You could probably, you still have Case and Wallace and, Alex Caruso you could throw in there. Gilgeous-Alexander at the one. Jalen Williams. I mean, you might not even have Case and Wallace in the lineup. I mean, it might just be Shea, Dort, Williams, Holmgren, and Hartenstein, and obviously you want to get those guys in, and they do a phenomenal job getting other guys in. And you have Isaiah Joe, you have Caruso, Aaron Wiggins has been very efficient, Jalen Williams, backup center, Dieng, who we drafted. They really got some good upside, so I really like what they're doing down in OKC. I think they are the best team in the NBA by far. Celtics, Cavs up there, Grizz up there, but yeah, I mean, they're number one by far for me.
I would say that you're completely correct with Alexander being, I don't know if, inefficient is one word to say, but I feel like their defense is, you mentioned it, their defense is really what's been separating them from other teams. Their defense on the perimeter, their ability to get steals, and I feel like, to be honest, how do I say this? Like, I'm trying to think of it without sounding stupid. Like, Caruso, see, this is weird. I feel like Caruso is the MVP of the NBA. Now, I don't mean that and like he should win the MVP award. I mean it like when he's on your team.
He's the most important player.
Right, he's the most. That's probably a better way to say it. He's the most important player on the floor because of his ability to spread the floor on offense, his ability to get steals and create a better defense. And he just signed a 4-year extension.
He is a game changer. I mean, you look at guys in the league, obviously you got pure scorers, you got guys who can dish the ball off, but he's like a guy who's like the pass before the assist. He's like the guy who's like most tip passes in the league. He's a guy like affects the team out to break the most. I mean, the little things, Ryan, and like I said, I love the little things, and this is a guy who's scrappy. He gets it done. Offensively, defensively, offensively, I don't know. He's a little shaky, but I mean, he presents opportunities to his teammates, and that's why he got all that money. I mean, there's a reason why he got paid. You don't just hand out money to bums, and obviously he's averaging 6 a game in 20 minutes. But when he's on the floor, he is so valuable in asset wise. I think he's the most overvalued player for this NBA skills that he has. I think he has the best IQ in the league, possibly. Obviously, you got LeBron up there, but I mean, he just got that type of influence on the game, right?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say you're completely correct. But yeah, I say the Thunder win the West. As much as I hate to say it, I really think the Boston Celtics will repeat as champions. They're just. Yeah, I know, exactly. I feel the same. But anyway, let's move on here. We have the latest edition of Ryan's Rants to get into, and then I'm remembering Eagles predictions today. I'm remembering it. Cole, get to...
You remembered them last week.
Well, somewhat remembered. But, Cole, give me the first topic here.
Hill needs more valuable reps with Tua.
All right, I just got a notification that the Chiefs might be trading for Tyreek Hill in the offseason, but... as of now, Tyreek Hill needs more valuable reps with Tua Tagovailoa, like you haven't been passing with him for the past 2 seasons, and also you're talking about you need more valuable reps. Didn't you say before you stepped onto the field with him that he was a better, accurate quarterback than Patrick Mahomes? So how do you need more valuable reps with him if he's so accurate? It doesn't really make that much sense to me. I don't really know what the hell he's talking about. Maybe he's just trying to raise morale. I don't really know, but don't sound stupid when doing it.
How do the Red Sox keep getting guys?
What the hell is going on in Boston? I mean, did they get put the best Christmas cookies in Boston? I mean, what the hell's going on here? I mean, how are they getting all these guys that are also good but also not good at the same time? Doesn't really make that much sense to me. They stole they've stolen a couple. Who did they steal from the Phillies? Damn it. Who did they steal from? I forget who they stole from the Phillies. I wanted somebody. But they wanted somebody that went to the Red Sox, and I wanted them for the Phillies. But nonetheless, how do they keep getting all these guys? Doesn't really make that much sense to me. What the hell's going on there in Boston? I don't know. Do they make good sugar cookies in Boston? I've never been. I might have to ask Jamie about it. But let's move on.
Raiders shot themselves in the foot.
Ray, what the hell are the Raiders doing? I mean, does Antonio Pierce want to get fired? Do you not want the number 1, number 2 overall pick? They went from the number 2 overall pick to the number 7 overall pick in just a matter of a day because they were stupid enough to actually win a game. I've been saying this for how long? Aiden O'Connell is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Neither is Gardner Minshew. So what the hell did you expect when Devontae Adams wanted to get traded from having a bunch of bums as your quarterback? And then, you're looking at a bunch of bums at your quarterback. Do you really want Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew starting next year? No. So why the hell are you winning games? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, Cole, if you don't have anything else to say about this, let's get into the Eagles' predictions right now. The Eagles play the Cowboys in a game that has been moved to 1 o'clock on Sunday in turn for 4:25. So who's going to win that game?
Well, I got the Eagles. Depending on if Jalen Hurts gets back, it's either going to be a blowout or, if Kenny Pickett plays, it might be close. I'll go, and Cowboys are coming off a win, so maybe I won't give too much criticism there. I'll say Eagles 21-10.
I'll take if Hurts plays, then it's going to be 35-14. And also, he's in concussion protocol right now. That's obviously nothing new.
I'm just saying I'm gonna just say if he doesn't play, it's 21-10 or 21-10. And I'm gonna just stick with that.
If the Pickett plays, I'll take the Eagles to win 14-13, just because he has been a starting quarterback before. And a full week of practice, he might look a little bit better. I think the Eagles defense can easily shut down the Cowboys with no problem.
Yeah, and they're going to be preparing this week, and
right.
Going to be preparing specifically Kenny Pickett.
Right. Hurts is in concussion protocol right now. That's nothing new. Nobody should be all up in arms about it. This was also a first-time injury for Hurts, so I would say it's nothing to. I would say he probably could come back pretty easily because I don't think he's ever had a concussion or head injury before.
Yeah. And honestly, you might as well just bench him. Bench him against not only Cowboys, but I bench him against the Giants as well. Just
you can't
have him 100%, get rid of that hand injury, that finger injury, and just be ready for the playoffs, man.
I wouldn't say that because there is a chance that they can lose the division.
You're right.
If there's a chance, then I wouldn't do it. But I don't know. We'll see.
If they win this game, I think you. If they win this game with Kenny Pickett, I'd say you.
Then 100%, definitely. But anyway, that'll do it for the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast, guys. We'll be back sometime next week. We'll update you guys when that'll be. And if there's nothing else for Cole to say, I got nothing else. We will see you guys later. Peace.